To the local market now, and a bit of directionless start to the week. I spoke to Charlie Aitken from Bell Potter for his take. Charlie Aitken, now what is an investor to make of our Treasurer's spray at some in the mining sector today?
Yeah, that was a bit topical today, Tiki, but I'll put the disclaimer in that Andrew Forrest is a personal friend of mine, so I'm probably a little bit biased in this. But look, I think it's unhelpful to broader foreign investor sentiment towards Australia. Look, I mean, if you're going to air your dirty laundry, I don't think this is the way to do it. So, look, I don't think it necessarily affected the share market today, but I think it's unhelpful.
All right, well, I'll take that on board. Slow start to the week, presumably worries about those future Chinese growth figures, and also about Greece.
Yeah, look, I think the same old worries coming back a little bit, Tiki. In Australia, the reporting season's ended. The market's gone ex-dividend, which takes a little bit of support away. And now we're back in the hands of global and local macro developments. There was some pretty ordinary data today in Australia as well, with inventories up, quarterly profits down, also a services survey that was actually negative. So it wasn't all just global stuff today. But look, the Chinese, there is a rumour they're going to revise down their GDP growth forecast, and resource stocks had an ordinary day on that.
So do you think the market might be heading for a bit of a pullback?
Yeah, look, it just seems we could be in for a little bit of a pullback, Tiki. Look, the US market isn't making new highs. You know, the euro fell on Friday night. The European banks put the money they borrowed from the ECB back on deposit with the ECB. The gold price has come down a bit. It just could be in for a little bit of a pullback as the markets globally and locally digest what's next. And I think when markets can't quite work out what's next, they generally just come back a little bit. So perhaps a little bit of a pullback is starting.
Billabong is down again. It seems to be bobbing around like a cork in a bath with that private equity bid. What's the news today?
Well, the stock's come off about 3% today because the founder, Gordon Merchant, actually increased his stake a couple of days ago. Mr Merchant went from about 15.5% to 16.5%. Now, of course, the share market thinks that means he's going to block any deal that comes along, but you could also see it as a vote of confidence in the valuation of the shares by the founder. So I suspect this isn't all over here, and maybe private equity will come back, but the share market had a different view today with the shares down 3%.
I also see Suncorp has logged hundreds of claims already from the floods in New South Wales and Victoria. And of course, we can't assess much at the moment, but got to have a bit of a feeling of déjà vu.
Yeah, it seems that we're just always, there's a natural disaster, unfortunately, on the screens every week in Australia. I think these early claims, on Suncorp already is probably a little bit of a bad sign for the industry. I think this is a much bigger, flood than the market's giving it credit for, because it hasn't seen the claims yet. But look, I mean, Suncorp being, very good in getting disclosure to the market straight away. So it didn't help the insurance sector today. The insurance sector was down a little bit as the market comes to grips with the scale of the flooding in southeast Australia.
And more rain this week, I gather. Charlie Aitken, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Tiki.